The last lesson we talked about gathering information, but we actually were looking for the categories of information. And we ended up with how do tornadoes form, tornado categories, and what to do during a tornado. Those were the categories that we found, and we knew that they were the categories that we were going to use because, one, we thought they were interesting. I did. And then I had at least 3 pieces of factual information for each category. So the first one, how do tornadoes form? If you remember, we were looking, I did a Google search on tornadoes and came up with this article. And it has how do tornadoes form right here. And here are the steps for tornadoes. Typical steps for the formation of a tornado, okay? So it says a large thunderstorm occurs in a cumulonimbus cloud. It's a certain type of cloud. A change in the wind direction and wind speed at a high altitude causes the air to swirl horizontally, so it's going this way. Rising air from the ground pushes up on the swirling air and tips it over. The funnel of swirling air begins to suck up more warm air from the ground, and then the funnel grows longer and stretches toward the ground. When the funnel touches the ground, it becomes a tornado. So until that point, it's not a tornado until it actually touches the ground, because there's often swirling air above the ground. So I need to put this down, this information on my how do tornadoes form. So I'm going to, now of course when I go to write this into sentences, I'm not going to have 1 and 2 and 3, all of that in there, but I want to keep track of my information. So thunderstorm, in a cumulonimbus cloud. Second, and I'm reading this over, a change in wind direction and wind speed at high altitude causes the air to swirl horizontally. So, let's see, wind direction and speed, because I don't want to write out all this down because then it won't be in my own words anyway. Wind direction and speed, high speeds. I think I want to put high speeds there. It has to be high enough. High speeds causes air to swirl. Makes, that would be a word I would use. Makes air swirl. 3. Rising air pushes swirling air and tips it over. Rising air pushes up and tips over swirling air. So you don't have a whole lot of room here, but you want to write down this enough so that you can make it make sense. More warm air gets sucked up. More warm air gets sucked up. I guess I'll just use their words there. Sucked up. Okay, number 5. Funnel grows longer. And don't forget that you use your resources. This is where it says funnel, so you spell the word funnel correctly. Funnel grows longer. Finally, funnel touches the ground. Okay, and that's when it becomes a tornado. So these are the steps. I wrote them down. I'm going to, when I actually write this into my report, each one of these would be a sentence, best that I can. I would have to add words, obviously, to things like funnel grows longer, because that's only 3 words. So I need more words than that. Now, if I'm at the category, remember I found the enhanced Fujita scale. So I would put EF, because I think it's important that people know what that stands for. The EF, those are both capitalized, means enhanced Fujita. And the Fujita is the scientist. That came up with the scale. And the scale for weak tornado. A weak tornado is an EF0 or EF1. Now I get that right from this chart right here, because it says weak, weak, and weak. That was an EF0, EF1. Now strong is an EF2 and EF3. So I'm going to put strong EF2 and EF3, and violent EF, look at my chart, EF4 and 5. So the most violent is a 5, EF5. Okay. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sentences just from that chart. And I just kind of put the chart in my own words, and later I'll put them into complete sentences. Now the last category, what to do during a tornado. Remember I tried the hyperlink and it didn't take me anywhere, but then I typed the words of that hyperlink that I found into a Google search, what to do during a tornado. And so I found this, I said, what to do during a tornado. I typed that in, and it says these 3 things that you need to do. So it was at least 3 pieces of factual information. So it was enough for me to use it. It says go to the basement or take shelter in a small interior ground floor room, such as a bathroom, closet, or a hallway. Basically, they're saying anything without a window. If you have no basement, protect yourself by taking shelter under a heavy table or desk, because things fall over and you can get hurt that way. In all cases, stay away from windows, outside walls, and doors. That's why they want you to be on the inside. I want you to go to the inside of your house or your apartment. That's why a bathroom's usually the best bet, because there's one, no windows, and two, it's inside, not an outside, or if it has no windows, and if it's inside, on the inside part of the house or apartment. So I'm going to write those things down, those three things. Okay, go to a basement, that's one. Go to basement. It sounds like that's their first choice. Go to basement, bathroom, bathroom, or closet. That makes sense too, because those are usually inside. They don't have a wall that's on the outside of the house typically. Next one, protect yourself by taking shelter under a heavy table. So I'm putting this in my own words, get under a table or desk. And 3, stay away from windows, outside walls, and doors. Because of the wind speed is so strong, it can blow the windows out so that glass shatters everywhere, and also doors can become unhinged and can blow in and land on you or knock you over. So you want to stay away from all of those things. So here's my 3 pieces of factual information. Each one of those would be its own sentence when you write it into the frame. You want to write down as much information as you can so that it makes sense to you later, so that you can put it into a sentence. But you don't want to plagiarize by using somebody else's words. Okay, so that's how we get our tree map information ready for writing into our frame in complete sentences.